The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
I want to tell you a story. So I saw this on TikTok yesterday, but then news.com have picked it up as a story as well. So it's about a girl who she'd been with her boyfriend for 4 years. They're American. They moved together to LA, she's a musician and wanted to do some improv kind of stuff. And so they moved to LA, which was to chase her dream. And she acknowledged that. And then after a while, he said, I'm not happy. I want to move back to Texas to be closer to his family. And she's like, okay, that's fair enough. And so she packed up everything they owned, and she said she drained her savings in order to book the movers, and she had a big farewell party and said goodbye to the new friends that she'd made in LA. And she moved back with him to Texas. That's and then waited for their stuff to arrive and then set up the new house. Had to rent a new property, obviously, set it all up. And she said that took about another month or so. And so they're just settling into life in Texas. He goes away on a bit of a family trip. Yep. So with his family, they go. She couldn't go for whatever reason or wasn't invited. I'm not sure. When he gets home, after she has uprooted her new life in LA to follow him back to Texas, he hands her a note that says, I don't think we're compatible.
After all that, Nat.
And therefore,
Therefore, you're dropped.
Yeah, that's right. Essentially. And also, a note? They've been together for 4 years. That's a face-to-face conversation, don't you reckon?
Well, it is, but also you don't want to get caught up in trying to say stuff and you forget the right words. So then you go with writing it down that we're not compatible, and that's straight to the point.
Just in case you forget the word incompatible when you really need it. I mean, that hurts. Like she said, why wouldn't he have just said it and gone back to Texas when they were living in LA? If he wasn't that happy, just break up with me then, move back. Fine, I get it, that's no problem. But to make her move all the way back again and then go, nah, I don't, we're not compatible, bye.
That's one of the 3 strong pillars to a good relationship: compatibility.
Compatibility.
Yeah, it is.
And do you think after 4 years you would have figured out if you were compatible or not?
Well, you would have thought so too.
Does compatibility change over time?
Yeah, it does. It does. I can't remember the other pillars, but I'll get back to them shortly.
What are the other 2 pillars, Shaun?
I've forgotten all of them, but I know compatibility is number 2.
It's definitely one of them. Oh, number 2.
Yeah.
Loving them, is that one of them?
That's probably up there. But that's amazing. You often hear that people uproot their lives for another partner, and then it all goes to shit. That's a bad way to break
up with somebody like that. If you're taking notes, if you're wondering how you should break up with somebody, don't do that. Don't make them move across the country and then give them a note.
It's not nice to split up from a relationship or get dumped on the back of you doing something, a good gesture.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And you know what that reminds me of? I mean, we're just talking about moving state, but the Netflix show that you're watching at the moment.
Oh, Nobody Wants This.
Yeah, so I watched it. And so in it, what's her name?
The actress is Kristen Bell.
Yeah, so Kristen Bell is looking at possibly changing religions or,
yes, that's right,
or becoming religious.
She's in love with a rabbi.
To do that for the partner who's hot.
Yes.
So that would be another thing. Yes. What happens if they got together? I've just done a whole religious course.
Yes, I've converted to Judaism, and now we're incompatible.
Yeah, exactly.
That would hurt. All right, we want to know that situation when you went, oh my God, now you're dumping me now. You are seriously dumping me now after everything we've been through,
I've moved overseas for you,
or this situation. This is when you're dumping me. I know it's happened to you.
That's not fun.
I know. Cindy's in Camillo. Hi, Cindy.
Hello.
Hey, Cindy.
Okay, Cindy, talk to us. When did you get dumped in an unbelievable time?
Okay, so my story is very similar to the TikTok chick. But basically, I was in a relationship with his people, so he was in and out and whatever else. We were in a relationship. We got married in July of 2020, so during COVID and all that.
Yes,
Then we, so we were planning on a future and everything else. We were renting, so we thought, we'll buy a house. So we did all that. So in September of 2021, so we're not looking a long time, but we're talking like, this is commitment, we're married and all that.
Yes.
So then anyway, in September of 2021, so basically just over a year, we purchased the property. Now, that property was in his name, which that's all kosher, whatever, we're married.
Yes.
Then December rolls around and no arguments, no nothing, whatever. He comes back from a swing and like Boxing Day, and then says, no, he didn't want to come away with me, was what it was, because I was just going to, go away for the weekend, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then I went with my thing, come back, and there's a note on the side table saying, I'm not really ready for a relationship.
You got married.
You bought a house together.
Yeah.
He's not ready
Pretty
for a
much.
relationship, but he was ready to have a wedding and get married and buy a house. What?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. It's done my head in things.
Cindy.
Okay, I'll tell you wrong with it, but
So-
yeah.
How did you do? What did you do? What was the conversation? Did you just move out or?
We had no conversation.
Yeah.
At that time,
Oh.
I couldn't speak to him for like probably 3 months. He wouldn't speak.
Yes.
But he was, like I said, he's FIFO, so he was away. But I rang. Well, he was at home at the time. But then I rang him and I was like, "What the fuck?" And he goes, "Well, you know, it's just not working out." And I was like, "How's that?" So anyway, there's this note. Part of the note was things saying like, "Oh, I need you to pay pet bond, and you can sign a lease, and you can do this, that, and the other. Do you find somewhere else to live?" And I was like, "Hang on a minute, what are you talking?" So, anyway, the long story short, I ended up finding somebody. He sent me a lease agreement and everything. And I
Oh,
was
my
like,
God.
What are
So
you
is
up
he
to,
saying
son?
the lease agreement was to lease the house that was in his name, where you
Yeah.
were living? He wanted you to become a
Yeah.
tenant. You could stay there, but you had to be
Yeah.
a tenant of his.
Yeah,
That's not how it
pretty
works.
much.
That's
Wow.
not how it
And I
works.
thought, no, I'm not paying off your investment property. I'll go find somewhere else.
Yes.
So I
But
left.
also, as his wife, you were entitled to part of that property,
Yeah.
I would have thought, in a property settlement.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I threw that at him. What was it called? Asset pool?
Yeah.
I said, "Mate, give me some time. Asset
Yes.
pool."
Yeah.
But I didn't go down that route. But yes, basically mine was the same thing. No argument, no nothing. He was his decision to move house and, you know, buy a house and whatever else. His decision to get married. And then, you know, within 18 months, it's like, "Nah, I'm not ready for a
I'm
relationship.
not ready
I'm too
for
used
a
to being at home."
relationship.
That's
You're in a
ridiculous.
relationship. Oh, Cindy.
But we are learning
Thank
the best
you.
way to break up with somebody is
I know,
write them a note.
is a note, yeah.
So write that down, everyone. Literally.
Brooke's in Atwell. Morning, Brooke.
Good morning.
Okay, Brooke.
Brooke.
I know these are sad stories, Brooke. What have you got for us?
Okay, so mine's not really as bad as moving across the country or anything,
Sure.
but I got broken up with on Christmas.
Oh.
Brooke.
How long have you been
What did
together,
you do
Brooke?
to the ham that caused that to happen?
Yeah, so we were together for 3 years, but he was of that certain religion that didn't celebrate Christmas.
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
So
yes.
we were actually going down to Esperance before Christmas just to go for a holiday there.
Yes.
And halfway down, he turned around and said, "Oh, I think we need a break." And I was like, "Are you kidding?"
We're in Lake Grace.
Halfway
What are we
down
going to do? What do I get out of the car here? I mean, it is a long drive, to be fair. It
Probably
would
gonna
test the best
climb
of
Bluff Knoll.
relationships, but still.
Yeah. So we were living in a town 4 hours away at
Yeah.
the time. So
Yes.
turned
Oh, okay.
around, took me back to that town.
Kalgoorlie,
So I was like,
obviously, yes.
Yeah,
Keep going.
yeah. And I just, I was like, I'll just go down to Perth then because my family down here, my friends down here. Come down for a couple days, and then so I spent Christmas, and then I got a text, or I texted him saying, "Okay, like I'm ready to come home," and then he texted me and said, "Oh no, it's not going to work."
It's not going to... The old classics of we need a break.
I know, and it's not
not
going to
gonna
work.
Yep.
Do you think
So-
that was...
You can't do that in the middle of a road trip on your holiday. Pick a better time than that to say we
Yeah.
need a break. It's like, because
Christmas
then you've
time,
got
yeah.
to sit next to him for the next 2 hours while he drives you back
Oh, no,
again.
There's a whole lot of
It's a
no
very
break.
awkward
Yeah.
silence.
It was.
Oh,
yeah.
Brooke.
So
You've
yeah.
moved on though, haven't you?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Good
She's
girl.
a good catch, Brooke.
Yeah, she is.
I like that guy.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brooke. Brendan's in Applecross. Hello.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Brendan.
Okay, we're talking about being dumped hard at a really bad time. What happened?
I met a young lady when I was travelling in England, a South African girl, and we got together, decided to move back to Australia, so she came back with me as my de facto.
Yep.
We set up house, I bought her a car, got her all set up. So in January, we bought an apartment together.
Nice.
Her permanent residency came through around Australia Day, 26th of January, something around that.
Yep.
And then on Valentine's Day, she decides to break up with me.
Oh, 2.5 weeks later.
2.5. And the part that really stung the most
Yes.
is the apartment that we bought together. When we had to separate, she didn't want the value of what we paid for it, even though we only owned it for 3 weeks. She wanted market value of $60,000 more than what we bought it for.
Oh, that is an absolute stitch up, Brendan.
So I had to pay that extra 30 grand just to break up with her.
That's a little.
And Brendan, the Valentine's Day, how did that? Had you organised something special? Like what happened on?
No, I had to work, So 'cause I work in hospitality, and she went out and never came home. I rang all her friends and the next day, and about 4 o'clock the next day, she said that she'd been with somebody else and she wasn't coming back.
Brendan.
Yeah, heartbreaking.
Okay.
Brendan.
Well, I would
Total
say,
stitch up.
I know that it cost you that $30,000, but I would say you
Money well spent?
Yeah, that's right. That you're better off without her. That's for sure.
Brendan, have you moved on? You got any fresh gear these days?
Oh, yes. No, well, I met my wife pretty much straight away.
There you go.
Oh, see, that was meant to be. Yeah, it was just a bad chapter. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for the stories, everybody.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
New show is premiering on Channel 7 called Growing Home with Jamie Durie. It follows Jamie's family as they build a new eco home.
God, this would be next
pressure.
level.
Imagine the arguments. Hello, Jamie.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, good, Jamie. Well, Natalie just said how the argument, when you're building with family, you've got the kids around, how do you go with that? Oh, you're in the car at the moment, eh, Jamie?
I am, yeah. But look, I have to say, it wasn't the easiest experience, but we felt like, after 5 years of researching all of the best sustainable ideas we could possibly get our hands on, we felt that was worth sharing.
Well, mate, that is a great beep. Have you been on over 50 shows I was reading on somewhere? And if so, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I started, I guess, 1998 with Backyard Blitz, and then hosted the first 2 series of The Block, and then ended up in the US for a little while and hosting a few shows there, and it was amazing experience because I got to work on so many different types of building and renovation shows.
Yeah.
So I guess pulling all that experience into this show here now in 2024. When really, cost of living crisis is sort of well truly upon our steps.
Yeah.
We need all the energy saving advice we can get, and so that's really what this show is about. It's we're building an off the grid house, but there are ideas in here everywhere that could actually play into whatever your budget is.
Hey, Jamie, you just talked about that, and it is cost of living that we're all going through, and eco-friendly and power costs is a big deal, as you said. But is the initial cost of what we're going to see you do, the initial cost, quite a whack in the face?
Look, let's just say I'm taking one for the team. Right?
Yeah.
And whilst it might cost me a little extra, the idea of this show is that we expose these ideas, we create more awareness, and then as people start taking up these ideas, the costs start to come down.
Yeah.
And that it's about supply and demand, right? So it's the first time that anyone's really exposed these sorts of sustainable eco initiatives on primetime free-to-air TV. This is the sort of thing you'd normally see on ABC, SBS, So I think the idea of having this really exposed on primetime Channel 7 means that, these are ideas that everyone can adopt. And the more people that take these ideas up, the lower the costs will come down, and it will make it more cost-effective. But, look, we went and did a story on one house who had put down just 2 geothermal probes.
Yeah.
And it cost them $20,000, and they haven't had an energy bill in 3 years. They got a check back from their energy provider.
Oh,
so it's combining, solar and geothermal, which has really enabled us to be grid independent. Yeah. And that's what everyone wants.
Yeah, for sure. Jamie, you mentioned that you did the first couple of series of The Block, and that has given us a twisted perception, that show, of how quickly things happen, like, that you can finish a house in like 8 weeks or whatever. We know that's not the case, and that you had to, you were filming over several years. How long was it a drawn-out process, and what blew it out for you?
Oh, look, we had a bit of we had a very difficult block, like 37-degree sloping block, lots of rock, lots of unstable clay. So, our shoring up and excavation process was a little longer than we had expected. But look, we've still managed to come in at 20 months, which is not bad.
That is pretty good, yeah.
for a house of that caliber, it was pretty. We were quite grateful. But yeah, yes, to keep a film crew rolling for 20 months is a process.
Yeah,
and
Jesus.
The crew were coming in once or twice a week to sort of pick up all the pivotal moments. But over the last 3 months, 4 months, we've had crews there every day because stuff's moving and changing so dramatically. But it's really cool because you're getting to see the bones of the building and we're not only exposing all of these eco initiatives and 5 years of research, but I'm also kind of showing a very raw look at my family going through all of this with rising interest rates.
Yeah.
And we've had to go back to the bank a couple of times and borrow more money. And
you're obviously living in a caravan while you're doing it.
Yeah, we rented a house at the end of the street, which we thought we'd rent for a year, and we've been there 3 years. So, it's kind of, that's just the joys of building, and I think we'll appreciate it when all is said and done. But, yes, it's I have a very, very tolerant, beautiful fiance who's been doing a great job, not only giving birth to but raising our children whilst I've been swinging the hammer and laying concrete. So it's been a tough process, but Amika's done a great job. She even wrote the music for the show.
Oh wow!
Oh, really?
She's so talented.
Oh,
yeah, that's amazing.
Gee, that is
and you say little kids, but you're talking a 3-year-old and an 18-month-old, right? Little kids.
Yeah, but those births are on the show. Don't worry, it's all out there.
It really is everything, the whole package.
Hey,
it's a family affair.
Jamie, one of the things about when you build a home, and I have never gone to your level, obviously, but when it's done, you go, oh, if only I'd have put that PowerPoint over there. Now, how many times have you got many things that you
Any regrets?
kind of like, oh, if I had have tweaked this?
Yeah, look, there's been a couple of moments like that, but actually, as the house has evolved, it kind of grows on you.
Yeah.
And we're working with some really talented architects who are kind of thinking 5 steps ahead. And it's like anything, right? If you catch someone cutting their hair halfway through, you go, I don't know whether I like that, but come at the end of the haircut and it all looks fabulous.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can see the whole process. It kicks off tonight, 8:30 on Channel 7. Thanks so much for talking to us, Jamie Durie.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks so much, guys.
Happy days.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.